Hey, shalom, 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 Akim. First and foremost, giving all praise into Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem B'kakudash. Giving double honor to our apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom, salutation to you, sincere Akims, across the four winds, pushing this truth with sincerity of heart. Because I'm a God from a DC camp, coming at you through the spirit of power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Hakudash. To teach and warn the elect of the upcoming destruction. As you see right here, this is an image of what's coming soon, which is the pestilence, outbreak, pandemic, particular virus that will be released by the elites of this world, man. The people that work in the darkness. All right. Pandemic and all that, and then it's not gonna be it's not gonna be good. It's gonna be real ugly. You're gonna start seeing hazmat suits and stuff like that, man. And that's all prophesied in the scriptures. And that's all off of this website. This article and that I seen, and it's been talked about in the news. This is a VOA news of East Asia. It says China faces challenges in containing, and this is actually dated February the 1st, 2019. Alright, and it's been talked about right now. As a matter of fact, it says China faces challenges in containing African swine fever. Okay, so that's and it says right here, workers disinfect passing vehicles in an area experiencing an African swine fever outbreak on the outskirts of Beijing, China, November 23rd, 2018. So it says the year of the pig is getting off to a rough start. Now, the year of the pig, this is 2019. According to the Moabites, the Chinese, this is supposed to be the year of the pig, because they got their calendar based on animals. It says the year of the pig is getting off to a rough start in China as the world's largest consumer of pork and home to half the world's pig struggles to contain the spreads of the African swine fever, ASF virus. Recent incidents where traces of the virus were found in samples of frozen pork dumplings suggest the outbreak is more widespread than has been reported, analysts said. They add that the disease could have devastating socioeconomic consequences for both Chinese consumers and the global pig industry. Okay? It says over the weekend, food safety regulators in southern Hunan and northwest Gansu provinces identified traces of the virus in pork products, including frozen dumplings. Okay, it says the first outbreak of African swine fever showed up in the northeastern province of Loining in August of last year. So you can read more about this. There's many articles speaking about this, but basically what's going on is that now, like I said, they're having a problem containing the virus, that's coming because of swine. Because as you're gonna find out, if you don't already know, swine is an unclean animal. Alright, and it eats off of stuff that you ain't supposed to have no business eating. So if the pork is omnivore and it eats off of stuff you ain't got no business eating, why are you eating it? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Why are you eating it? So the thing is that, just give me 1 second. Salakia for that. But yeah, basically again, if you're not supposed to eat swine, and swine is unclean animal, why are you eating it? All right, you have no business eating it, and it's crazy because that kind of takes me back to this movie called Contagion. All right, if you brothers remember the movie Contagion that came out a few years back, 2011. And you can see right here the synopsis of the movie. It says when Beth Emhoff, Gwyneth Paltrow, right, returns to Minnesota from a Hong Kong business trip. Hong Kong, of course, is China. Business trip. She attributes the malaise she feels to jet lag. However, 2 days later, Beth is dead, and doctors tell her shocked husband, Matt Damon, that they have no idea what killed her. Soon, many others start to exhibit, the same symptoms, and a global pandemic explodes. Doctors try to contain the lethal microbe, but society begins to collapse as a blogger, Jude Law, fans the flames of paranoia. So I'm expecting, again, I'm not saying, this particular flu is it, but that's why we watch, you know what I'm saying? We warn and we watch. But I would say this though, it's definitely affecting the Chinese economy. And remember, America's economy is closely goes hand in hand with the Chinese economy. Right? When you look right here, one of the titles, it says African swine fever hits Chinese pork industry in run up to New Year. So the Chinese pork industry is having problems. Why? Because they're having to slaughter. I heard they slaughter like 900,000 pork. They had to slaughter 900,000 pork, and they love pork down there, man. Them damn heathens. So now they gotta import pork from other places, man. And you see right here, deadly pig virus could hit U.S. in a year, warn experts, and that's the Guardian. Okay, so you never know. This thing could be over here in a matter of just time, man. And it could be that, and it could by the time it hits America, it could be something totally different. Like I said, leave it up to Bill Gates. They're behind all of this stuff, man. So when we get the real virus, the real pandemic, we'll know. All of us would know. Like I said, the bodies are just gonna pile up, man. Okay, you're gonna see people on a bus coughing all of a sudden, or they just dropping dead and start bleeding out their eyes and ears and shit like that. It's just finna be real crazy out here, man. This is Deuteronomy chapter 14 and 8. It says, and the swine, which is pork, and the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. Alright? So that's what it is. You're not supposed to eat pork, man. That's straight, and that's just what it is. That's the laws. There's the reason for that, man. They're unclean. Alright? They eat stuff you have no business eating. But a lot of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you keep on eating this shit, and you're going to pay the price for doing that. This is Isaiah 65 and 3. It says, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifices in gardens and burneth incense upon altar of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments, which eat swine's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels. You see that? So the Lord said, this is the nation of Israel, man. They're still out here eating swine's flesh, man. A lot of you Negroes, it's been passed down from generation to generation. But guess what? There's such a thing as a generational lie, man. Okay? So the next scripture that I had is Isaiah 66 and 7. 66 and 17. It says, they that sanctify themselves, right? This is talking about 2/3, right? Because when you read 16, it says, for by the fire, so like it for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. And the slain of the Lord shall be many. Start with the 2/3 out of the nation of Israel. It says, they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst. Now, who is that talking about? It's talking about 2/3, because as the elect are being sanctified by truth, the 2/3 is sanctifying themselves and quote unquote sanctifying themselves and quote unquote purifying themselves on the left hand side. And what? In their gardens, the gardens is talking about. You're talking about in America, and you're talking about the philosophies that come with America, because it says behind one tree in the midst. It takes you all the way back to that tree of what? The knowledge of good and evil. That wickedness, the philosophy, the main philosophy, which is democracy. Okay, because under democracy you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, man. Okay. In the Constitution, so that's that tree, man. So and it says what? Eating swine's flesh. And the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So who are the ones that are sanctifying themselves behind these gardens, behind this one tree in the midst? That one tree that the Lord say to stay the fuck away from, going back to the garden. That knowledge, that their wickedness, that philosophy of the Edomites, which the main part of that, and as far as the dietary, is eating swine's flesh. Who's doing that? You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, Israelites, man. But you're going to be consumed altogether, saith the Lord, man. And then this pestilence is coming, it's going to consume you, man. It's a lot of you Negroes are going to, Hispanics and Native Americans are going to die in this pestilence, this outbreak that's coming, this pandemic. But the elect is totally different. This is Psalms 91:5. Thou, elect, shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor by the arrow that flieth by day. Right, going back to the missiles. Verse 6, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Right? The pandemic that's coming, it's going to be airborne, man. You're not going to be able to see it, feel it, touch it, but it's going to be in the air. And you're going to get it, and you're going to die. You're going to drop dead. Nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Okay? So, that's basically it. And Lord willing, man, you know, you brothers keep watching on that situation, man, and see what develops out of that, you know. Because, again, pork is a big thing in China. Some of those people over there in China, some of them are Israelites, man. And some of them, they're party elect, they're going to be saved. The ones that's not party elect, they're going to be put to death, man. But we're going into this horrible situation where the world is going to, like I said, 40% of the population, man, they want to bite, you kick the bucket with this outbreak that's coming through. So Kyle Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Yashar, double honor to our apostles, elders, a great millstone. Shalom, salutation to you, sincere Akims. Across the four winds. Shalom.